I think we're recording. We'll see. Okay. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm Sam. I'm Paper Not Books, and I don't know how to run a camera. I'm here to talk about the Booktube Prize. I read for I think it's the quarterfinals. I read from the group Fiction B, and yeah, so what I'm going to do here, because the results have already been posted, you can go watch those. I will link it down below. I'm sure you're here because you're curious about my reaction to that stuff. I will tell you that only one of the books that I ranked from this group ended up moving on to the next round. You can probably guess which one it is if you know which books. These are the books, and we're going to put them in order. I'm going to just give you a brief overview, very brief overview of each book in order that they appeared on the ballot, and then I will tell you how I ranked them and why. This wasn't an easy round. So book one, Small Things Like These by Keegan. This is a small town man in Ireland discovers that his local church isn't quite as holy as they claim to be. They're a little seedy, and it's really about him dealing with that turmoil. Book 2, Great Circle by Maggie Shipstead. 800 pages of flight obsession in like the mid-century. We're going to World War II and stuff. And we're going to try to pilot around the Earth going like this. Not like this. Like this. Still Life by Sarah Winman. I can't even begin to tell you. It's like a tapestry of lives that intersect in England and Italy, and how these weird random people kind of become a family in a way, but also about their love lives and how they ended up where they are. Next is The Promise by Damon Galgut. This is a book that has a lot of sway because it did win the Booker Prize last year. Go book. And it's about a promise that was made and how the youngest daughter in the family overheard that promise on the mother's deathbed, and she wants to fulfill that promise. And this is something that rears its ugly head whenever someone in the family is picked off and we attend their funeral. Book 5, Project Hail Mary by Weir. This is about a high school science teacher who ends up floating around in space with a dead crew, and he's the only live person, and he doesn't really have much recall of what happened and what he's doing, but basically he's on a mission to save Earth, and he needs the help of a kind of like a space spider to help him. It's science fiction. Last book on the list is Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen, and this is about 800 pages. I don't know how to describe this book. I'm going to just take this from the Goodreads thingy. Crossroads is a story of a Midwestern family at the pivotal moment of their moral crisis. Yes. So it's parents, and you get their back history, and then there was all their kids and what they're dealing with. Their moral compasses. We're dealing with drugs and stuff. It's like faith-ish type issues, and yeah, that's all I got from it. So I suppose I should talk about how I rank things. Going into this list, I'd already read 3 of the books, so I just had to read Crossroads, Still Life, and Small Things Like These. And yeah. Going into it, I'd already given 2 5 stars. Those books were The Promise and Project Hail Mary, which I knew didn't stand a chance going into this because it's science fiction. It's hard science fiction, and it's a little bit niche when you have it paired up in with a bunch of books that are literary in every sense. And the book I ranked 3 was Claire Keegan's book, which I can understand why people didn't want to carry it forward. I got a lot out of it. It doesn't say a whole lot. It doesn't have like a hard resolution, which I think is sometimes doesn't sit that well with people. But it's also the shortest book on the list. And I don't think that, based on one of Robert's most recent reviews when he paired this book up, I can't remember what he was pitting this book against in his Barter Hordes Cup, but it sounds like people were disappointed that such a short book made it. It's essentially a novella, but I feel like it says so much with that short span of pages. It paints you a glorious picture. You get a sense of who these people are, and it kind of is like a setting. Sure, it could be longer and you can get more out of it, and I think that's probably it's failing, but I absolutely loved it. That was my 3rd ranked book. The other books I could just throw them into the air and just let them see where they land, but I did have a preference. Great Circle was number 4 on the list. I have some reservations about this because I had read this book previously for the Booker Prize shortlist, and the issue that I have with it is that it could really be edited out. And I know I'm not the only person who's ever said this, but the Hadley timeline could completely be eliminated and it wouldn't change the friggin' story. There's no need for it. Absolutely no need for it. If that had been removed, this book would have been a 5-star. For sure, for me. So I blessed it with the number 4 spot, because it's just, I mean, it's going forward, so if you're reading it, enjoy. It is good. It's very good. It's just, I suggest skipping over some parts. It's not that they're not entertaining, it just doesn't lend anything to the rest of the story, so it's superfluous. And then, what was the other ones? Okay, Still Life, I put in the number 5 spot because I absolutely love the characters in this book, but it just didn't really have much of a plot. It had like interwinding plots, and I found it a little bit confusing because I actually audiobooked this and I had a really hard time kind of like focusing on who the hell are we talking about now. But I do love the parrot was, God, the parrot. It's so cute. But that was pretty much what I got from it. And then, but it was characters, and I'm like, characters win me over. And then lastly, Crossroads. I had a really rough time getting into it. I did warm up to the book, but I do point out that this is just the first book in a trilogy, and this book was like, what, 600 million pages long, and it felt like it was maybe like 300 pages too long. But I did warm up to it, and I will 100% read the next books in the series. So, yeah, because I really want to know what's going to happen with this family. But, and there's nothing wrong with the writing. It just felt like it was just, we weren't going anywhere. It was just too much of the social dynamics that just kind of, I was bored for most of the book. It wasn't until like 3/4 mark where I was like, oh, all right, this is a good book. But it took me like 400 pages to get to that. So, I don't know. It's its biggest Achilles heel. It didn't make it through to the next round, so you're welcome. I am happy that Still Life did go forward, and I think that the choices that went on, that are going on to the semifinals, are really strong and excellent choices. So good luck to those books, and we'll be seeing you soon with I'm reading again for next round, and I'm reading translated fiction next. So this is going to be interesting. Bye for now.